War does not make people better. It's an entirely different life. We bring these wars home. 2014. The Revolution of Dignity. Anna closely follows events in social networks where users actively discuss the current situation in Ukraine. Some say that a war is on the horizon. To escape these sad thoughts, Anna bakes delicious cakes and desserts. That's her hobby. She then posts photos of her cakes and desserts in social media for everyone to enjoy. Once a stranger noticed her masterpieces. He messaged me, but it was not the usual, "Hi, how are you? Let's meet." He wrote, "Nice hobby." So I was quite surprised, and it was very pleasant for me to hear such positive feedback. He's strange, she thought to herself, but for some reason she chatted with him for the rest of the evening, then another one, then one more, and then some. He was educated, interesting, and funny. They discussed the Maidan, baking, and everything in the world. Anna began catching herself thinking that he was probably the man she needed in her life. But Svyatoslav was not in a hurry to meet up. I told him I was tired of all that messaging and that we had to meet. And then he wrote that he was going to the ATO zone. And I was immediately concerned about him. Was it worth going on a date with a man who was going to a place from where not everyone comes? Did she need all those worries? Anna thought hard. But in the end, she decided that they had to meet. We met on August 31st. 2 weeks later, he left for training. After the training center, Svyatoslav went to the front. Anna promised to wait for him. Svyatoslav served as an artilleryman in the 5th Battalion of the 2nd Company of the Right Sector. His company was serving in the Piske village. I imagined the war differently at that time. But not like that. Definitely not like that. When the ammunition delivery arrived, doubt began creeping in. When you are unloading 15 tons of ammo while being shot at, you begin to doubt whether you want to do this or not. The company had to fight the separatists back when an escort with supplies or the wounded was making its way to the airport. Svyatoslav will remember his first shelling for a long time. The assault of the airport. First came the 30-60 minutes of preparation. Initially, they shelled us, and then came the assault. We were on alert in a position that overlooked the tower. That was probably the first battle that really shocked me. Svyatoslav realized that he would not likely return from the war as he had earlier. He looked at everything from a very different perspective here. He realized that he would have to once again become familiar with usual things and meet new people. When you go to war, your values are family, work, and a vacation in Egypt every 3 years. Your values change when you are defending your country. They immediately turn into your combat brethren, doing your duty and survival. For that very reason, upon returning home, most soldiers want to go back to the front. Svyatoslav also felt this. Indeed, he desperately wanted to return to the front because adapting to a peaceful life was very difficult for him. He withdrew into himself because life is completely different there. War is war. The only goal there is to survive and win. I was depressed and pyrotechnics freaked me out. Some kids started playing with firecrackers when I was adorning a Christmas tree in my mother's yard. I barely restrained myself from jumping off the ladder due to my reflexes from the sound of gunshots. Someone might find it funny when a person drops to the ground as soon as they hear fireworks going off. But these reflexes save lives of people and your brothers in arms there in the combat zone. Work was another irritating factor. It infuriated Svyatoslav. He could not make himself get out of bed to go there in the morning. At some point he decided he had to change something. After just 2 weeks, I called my former colleagues and told them there was a vacant position. He gradually started to understand what he wanted to do. He saw that Anna, a beauty parlor employee, was having a hard time keeping up with the influx of clients. Svyatoslav started working on brows. The concentration on details calmed him down and helped distract him from bad thoughts. Unexpectedly for himself, he realized that he got the hang of it and enjoyed it. He wants to keep developing in this industry. At that moment, he did not care that it was seemingly not exactly a typical job for a man. My comrades, they said it was nice. Then I got into doing manicures and pedicure. It was then that they started asking me what I did, but none of them said that they would not talk to me anymore. Of course, they understood. It's not as if someone forced me into taking up this occupation. It actually became very interesting for me. Svyatoslav says that it is the present work that helps him to readapt to a normal life in society after the war. He almost has no days off, but he enjoys what he does. In addition to that, how can he say no to his beloved clients who line up for his manicure and pedicure services? My friends told me they know of a great pedicure master, so that moral support helped me agree that a man to do a pedicure for me. Svyatoslav does a great job. He's beyond competition. Another salon, not pedicure but a tattoo salon, was opened yesterday by a member of Aerial Reconnaissance Evhen with the call sign Yarylo. Everything is simple in our studio. We have two Evhens. One of them is my talented brother and tattoo master, and the other, who is not as good at tattooing, is a very cheerful and cool guy. Before the war, Evhen headed a construction company. I like the fact that when building houses, one day there was no house, and the next day it's standing and ready for living. In short, the customer is satisfied, and so are you. But when the revolution of dignity began, he gave his all to volunteering. And then the war broke out. Evhen had absolutely no intentions of going to war, as he did not have the appropriate military training, and his health did not meet the requirements. But as a conscious citizen, he signed up to learn tactical medicine and some military training courses. That was exactly the case, after which his world outlook became totally different.
Коли ми проходили вишколу, такий момент був, що нас готували по 5 осіб.
They trained us in groups of 5 people. There was a young student from Lviv in our group, Volodymyr. He knew exactly where he was going after he finished training. So he went to the front, and a month later, a sniper shot him. This incident had a serious impact on me, and it was then that I realized I would not stand aside.
Вплинуло на мене. І коли це сталося, я зробив свій вибір, я зрозумів, що осторонь я стояти не буду.
Evhen decided to join the Volunteer Association Aerial Reconnaissance, which was just beginning its operation. Its main task was to maintain units at the front line. Evhen felt that it was both important and interesting for him. Thus, he went to the front in January 2015.
Приїхали ми вночі, ми не розуміли, що до чого і як.
We arrived at night. We had no clue what to do next. I was ordered to find a spot without tank track marks to park our vehicles. So I was wandering about with a flashlight when 2 soldiers ran up to me and asked who I was and what I was doing there. I said I was looking for a spot to park our vehicles. Then one said, "But Nora." "What Nora? What do you mean?" So one grabbed me by the collar and asked, "How many more idiots are there?" I said there were about 15 of us, and he replied, "Vasil, go hide them anywhere."
Василь, іди там, цих ховай кудись.
Later he was told that Nora is a signal of danger. It means that the enemy was about to shell Ukrainian positions, and that the soldiers had less than a minute to get to cover.
Я потрапив до танкістів.
I ended up with the tank crew, and during those 40 minutes of heavy shelling, they told me how to survive in a war.
Розповіли, як вижити в умовах війни.
But nobody told Evhen how to survive and not go insane on peaceful land after returning from the ATO zone.
Насамперед себе закручував, думаю, я такий сильний, мені ніхто,
First of all, I was winding myself up. I thought I was strong and needed no support, and that I had to choose my own way. But then I realized that I had lost the way. I was going insane. I easily broke into tears while driving somewhere. I cried for no reason in particular, even after seeing a bird flying above me.
І ридаю, такі речі, були.
But one morning he woke up and realized that he could not live like that anymore and began to seek support. He turned to a psychologist, who asked what he wanted from life. Evhen answered, "I don't know what I want," they replied. then it's not understood what you will receive. It was then that he realized that the choice between success and failure was his own to make.
Рішення маєте приймати ви.
You have to make a decision. A psychotherapist simply helps you find the internal strength and restore your connection with reality. When you say no, nothing is going to help here. Just try it once or twice before denying everything.
Спробуйте. Раз, другий, третій, а потім будете включати зраду.
After visiting the specialist, Yarylo realized that he wouldn't build any more houses. Back at the front, he was fascinated by tattoos. Many had them, some were awesome, while others were not. Some considered them an amulet of sorts, and Evhen wondered why. He met his cousin, he was a tattoo artist, after returning from the war. It was then that Evhen found a solution. He decided that the right move was to open up his own tattoo parlor.
Добрий день. Ми домовлялись.
Good afternoon. We agreed to make a tattoo for a young man.
Татуювання. Да, я батько.
Are you his father? Yes. I welcome the fact that a parent comes with their adult child to make sure that we work in sterile conditions.
Разом із дитиною неповнолітньою, якщо дитина хоче тату, щоб перевірити, що все в нас гаразд, все стерильно, все чисто.
The ATO veteran is proud of his parlor, as it is his pride and joy, and gives him the opportunity to realize himself. We do not do tattoos, we create emotions, and these emotions must be positive. Evhen is now completely submerged in business, which helps him recover from the horrific and tragic events in the war in the east of Ukraine. He has a lot of ideas, and he does not waste any time. He immediately says that he has ideas and that we should get to implementing them. Yarylo says it's not the money that matters. The important thing is to not lose optimism. He continues, he borrowed money from his friends to open the parlor, and they initially worked with his brother's equipment before they could afford to renew it. Now the parlor is expanding, it is offering new services, and is hiring new artists, who are, by the way, also ATO veterans. Evhen assures that there is not even a trace of the past depression and jokingly adds that he has no time for it. All men have a bonus straight after surviving a war. They understand that tomorrow may not come, so they do all they can today. Evhen says that this is one of the ways to overcome the post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, meaning to rediscover oneself in a business, hobby, or family. He realized that it's impossible to change the world around him, so he needed to learn to look at the situation from a different perspective. Then the probability of finding happiness in life increases dramatically.
Багато людей йдуть по вулиці, кажуть, ось багато в ресторанах сидять, ось багато там.
Many soldiers return from the war on the front line, and they tell me that they go to restaurants and to the movie theaters, and I'm proud that they do that. I think that's cool. Going to war was our duty to defend Ukraine. We chose it. I received no summons. I made my choice voluntarily. It was an honor for me to be a military man. I truly believe my decision was right.
Це шана, це мужність.